I've been using the Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultra for about 9 months now, and even though I did do a 6-month review of it, the S25 Ultra is easily one of my favorite phones ever, and even though we aren't at the end of the year yet, this is my likely pick for the overall best phone of 2025. Let's kick it off with the design and build quality. My device is held up much better than I expected because primarily I don't use a case. The design has really grown on me for the most part. I love the slightly curved frame that makes it easier to hold than my S24 Ultra. You get IP68 dust and water resistance, which works great, and I absolutely love the weight. I can't stand super heavy phones, and this one feels just right, coming in at around 218 grams. It just feels great in the hand. The titanium frame still feels great and looks great as well, and all buttons sound amazing. I wish the colors were a little bit better though. You have titanium black, titanium gray, titanium white silver, titanium jade green, titanium jet black, titanium pink gold, and titanium silver blue, which is the one that I have. And honestly, I want bolder colors. And even though not everyone is going to appreciate it, I want to see more colors like Apple's Cosmic Orange with the S26 Ultra. Give us something fun like the old Aurora Glow on the Note 10. Now, one thing that I have not liked with the new design is the camera rings. I still don't think these look any good, and I'm hoping for a better camera module design for the S26 Ultra, but we're gonna have to see. All in all, this phone feels extremely premium and the design is just beautiful. And speaking of beautiful, how about that incredible display? This is without a doubt the best display in any smartphone, period. You get an absolutely massive 6.9-inch display with a 92.5% screen-to-body ratio, dynamic LTPO AMOLED, 2x 120Hz, HDR10+, 2600 nits of peak brightness, the resolution of 1440 by 3120 pixels with 498 ppi density. This is one of those displays that you could probably use like 10 years from now and still appreciate how good it looks. One thing I would like to see improve, however, is the screen brightness. 2600 peak nits is not bad. However, the competition is improving, like the Pixel 10 Pro XL that has 3300 nits and the iPhone 17 Pro Max, which is at 3000 nits. For the price of this phone, because it is expensive, it would be nice to beat both of those numbers with the S26 Ultra. One thing that makes this forgivable, however, is that one feature that no other phone has right now, and that's the anti-reflective coating from Samsung. I cannot emphasize this enough. This feature is a total game changer for all displays. Every company needs to replicate something similar to what Samsung is doing. Whatever you plan on doing, whether it's watching HDR content on YouTube, watching your favorite tech channel, or playing games for long periods of time, you are going to enjoy every single moment. If your number one priority is viewing content, this phone was made for you. And to continue some of the positivity about this phone, let's talk about the battery life. I'm getting anywhere between 7 and 10 hours of screen on time depending on what I am doing. I don't do anything super crazy with any of my phones, but for my use, I use my phone to take phone calls, send text messages to family and friends, listen to music for long periods of time, watch content like my channel for example, subscribe for more, and playing emulated games and also streaming games through services like Xbox Game Pass. I have no issue at all getting throughout the day, and I only need to charge once before going to work. And while I would still love to see Samsung implement better battery technology to potentially increase battery capacity and create a slimmer form factor, the 5000 mAh battery does a great job and it is more than acceptable in 2025. And another very important factor to me when looking at the phone's battery is the charging speed. The S25 Ultra can charge up to 45 watts with a cable and 15 watts wireless. I don't ever really use wireless charging, but I can tell you that 45 watts cable takes me about an hour and a half to go from 0 to 100%. Regardless of the great battery life, I think Samsung really needs to improve on the charging speed, both wired and wireless. And trust me, I have had these conversations in the comments of other videos of mine where people say, oh, but if you only are charging once a day, what's the big deal if it's only 45 watts? Because then you can just charge overnight. I'm not necessarily arguing with you, but imagine a world where your battery can last 5 days with screen on time and can juice up in only 20 minutes or less. We'll never get there unless we start innovating and implementing new battery technology. So yeah, while it is not absolutely necessary because this is a terrific battery at the end of the day, I would still love to see improved innovation in the battery department with the release of the S26 Ultra. And for the haptic feedback, again, let's compare it to one of the best phones out there, the Pixel 10 Pro XL. And for the performance, this phone is fast, fluid, and just a polished user experience. You're getting a Snapdragon 8 Elite chip that is an absolute powerhouse for anything you throw at it, mobile games and emulated games for long periods of time without any stutters or throttling. Thermals are terrific with its larger vapor chamber, and I have never had any issue with overheating. One thing that I do wish was better that hasn't necessarily affected me a ton is that this only has 12 gigabytes of RAM. Looking at how expensive this phone is and how great the hardware and software is overall, I would imagine people would buy and use this for around 3 to 5 years or maybe even more. 12 gigabytes of RAM in 2025 is fine, but 5 years from now, I wish we had at least 16 gigabytes of RAM, but it's not a complete deal breaker. And onto the security, you get the same great ultrasonic under-display fingerprint sensor, which works incredibly well every single time, and face unlock, which also works well, at least in good lighting. If you're in bad lighting situations or even in a completely dark room with no light, it's just not good. I would love to see Samsung step up facial recognition with the S26 Ultra just around the corner. I can't even use this to open up secured applications like I can with my Pixel devices, and with that said, I would just stick with the fingerprint sensor because it is fast and reliable every single time. And for the camera, I think this is one place Samsung could have improved more. Regardless, it's still a great camera. You're getting a 50 megapixel ultra wide, a 200 megapixel wide, a 50 megapixel periscope telephoto, and a 10 megapixel telephoto, and a 12 megapixel selfie camera with autofocus, which is highly appreciated. Daylight photos using the main sensor delivers crisp detail, terrific dynamic range, and that classic Samsung coloring. At times, it's not 100% color accurate, but I think it looks great, and the 2x crop for the main sensor is very usable. The 3x is solid and produces good images and colors. The 5x is legitimately sharp with consistent color, but at the end of the day, the 10x zoom is digital and doesn't look too good. Anything past that and you lose a ton of detail, and the software tries to overcompensate, making images look muddy and almost fake. The ultra-wide is well exposed with accurate color, and I do appreciate it being a slight upgrade from last year's S24 Ultra. Selfies are dependable, but nothing as good as you're going to get on the Pixel 10 Pro XL, for example. But now for the low light, it's a trade-off. Auto mode keeps more grain with natural detail, and night mode smooths things out, but can look over-processed at times. With that said, however, look at these images I got before and after using night mode. It's pretty crazy how far we have come with night mode photography, and the S25 Ultra does a pretty good job here. And for the video, this is how I use my S25 Ultra most of the time. You get 4K 60 on every lens and even 8K 30 on the main, ultra wide, and 5x telephoto lens. If that's your thing, it really isn't mine, so I just stick with the 4K 60. And it has great image stabilization. I use this camera all the time for B-roll and just taking fun videos of our dogs. Morgan and Cusco say hi, by the way, and want you to subscribe for more. And when we're talking about the S25 Ultra, how could we possibly forget about one of the most unique features, the S Pen? Now, I admit this is not a feature designed for me. I just don't really use it except for one feature that I do use constantly. A big reason for this is that I used to primarily use it as a camera button via Bluetooth, but Samsung removed the Bluetooth function, which is a major bummer in my opinion. With that said, it's still a very good stylus. You get a ton of functionality with the tool wheel that you can customize and add helpful things to. If you like to draw and color, this is going to work great for you. And it just makes annotating things or writing down notes a little bit more immersive. And for the feature that I use on a regular basis, lock screen notes. I don't think this feature gets enough credit. This is an absolute game changer for someone who forgets stuff, like myself. You can jot down a digital sticky note, basically, on your lock screen, so you remember to do the thing that you wrote. I can't tell you how many times I have used this when working out, for example, and I get an idea for YouTube. This is such an incredibly cool feature. But Samsung, please bring back the Bluetooth functionality. And for the software, I love One UI 8. As of today, it is my favorite software to use in 2025, and for reference, I have always been a fan of Pixel software. Samsung has been nailing it since One UI 7. The user experience is fast and extremely fluid, and you still get 7 years of software and security support, which is just great. Now, I'm not going to cover all the features because this could be an hour-long video if I did, but I want to cover the things that I use and love most. Let's start off with the non-AI features, but first a minor gripe. The app drawer. Samsung, can you please add an option to not remember your last position? For those who don't know what I mean, when you open the app drawer and scroll down and then reopen it, it will go back to where you left off. This drives me freaking bonkers. There is no other Android phone that I own that acts like this. I do, however, still love the Edge panel. It makes multitasking easy and gives me a few more panels that I use on a daily basis. And how could I ever forget about Good Lock? This is such an amazing perk of having a Samsung device. It gives me all the extra customization that I need to where I have completely stopped using third-party launchers entirely. Modules like Home Up make it so fun and easy to create whatever home screen you want, change the home screen grid, the number of apps on your dock, and even the DIY home screen option lets you decorate your home screen with stickers. Not really my thing, but it's still pretty cool. And just to give one totally underrated Good Lock module a shout out, one-hand operation is the best productivity tool I have on my Samsung devices ever. It is an absolute game changer that people are still sleeping on. And these days, it's impossible to ignore AI, and luckily, Samsung's AI features are actually pretty good. I am not going to go through each one, I just want to cover the ones that I tend to use regularly. First is the transcription of voice recordings. I find Samsung's transcription to be extremely accurate, and with the AI companion of identifying different speakers, accurately summarizing details without losing important information, and the ability to click on keywords, the AI has found within the transcript is absolutely amazing. This would be my go-to phone if I was still in college. I also like how I can quickly summarize articles and translate them. However, I'm still not a fan that I can only do this within Samsung's web browser, which is one that I don't like to use when compared to something like Chrome. But it's still a very useful feature to have. And for editing photos, Samsung's People and Object Remover is without a doubt number one. It's clearly better than Apple's, and I find it more consistent than Google's, even though the Pixel devices do tend to do a decent job. Bottom line, if I need to erase something, I'm going to pick up my S25 Ultra. Not to mention that I can use the S Pen, which makes that feature even better. And for those who are curious about the sound quality of the speakers, let's see how it stacks up to the Pixel 10 Pro XL, which has incredible speakers. So, do I recommend you go out and buy the S25 Ultra after 9 months of daily use? I have grown to like it more and more with time. You get the best screen on a smartphone right now, insanely fast performance and software, a huge list of features, and good battery life and competitive camera performance. Just go buy it already. If this video helped you, please hit that like button down below and subscribe for more if you like what I do, and also hit that new hype feature down below as well to help this video get to new viewers, and I will see all of you next time.